As is very public knowledge nowadays, Final Fantasy VII will be coming out in episodes, which naturally didn't go down super smoothly. Some people were okay with it, some people were really against it, and some people were just really mixed and unsure. Many of the concerns were levied at, hey look, we might not get a load of content per episode, which is going to lead to Square Enix releasing these tiny little segments and charging us up the arse for it, which is a valid concern to have, but if some recent comments from Yoshinori Kitase are to be believed, that's not going to be the case. Now, he made these comments in a recent interview in the latest issue of Game Informer, in which he basically said that the goal is to structure the remake of Final Fantasy VII in a similar way to that of Final Fantasy XIII. Now, he said, quote, "It will essentially be a full-scale game for each part of the multi-part series. In Final Fantasy XIII, each installment told the story from a different angle. It was kind of like approaching an unknown territory in a sense. Whereas with Final Fantasy VII Remake, we already have a pre-existing story, so it wouldn't really make sense if that isn't encompassed in a multi-part series. So if we're just looking at each of these parts, one part should be on par with the scale of one Final Fantasy XIII game." So it looks like the scale of the episodes is going to be very large indeed. Final Fantasy XIII and of course its sequels were pretty long games. Now, my only concern about this is there going to be a lot of padding, but it's probably more going to be, hey, there's going to be lots of side quests. They have already said that they're going to be adding content that they perhaps originally wanted to put in the game and have now thought of adding to the game after the fact. So we're going to be getting more content, not less than the original in terms of the whole thing. So it's going to be interesting to see whether or not it ends up feeling padded or not. I really hope they find a way of pacing it correctly. That is my only real concern. I mean, this sounds all great in theory, to be honest. More Final Fantasy VII can only be a good thing, and of course Final Fantasy VII, the original, is a very long game, and as we know, they're rebuilding everything from scratch. So while it's obviously going to be remaking the original, the areas, the order you do them in, the characters you speak to, they're probably going to be adding more areas that perhaps they didn't have the money, time, or even the scale of disk space available to do at the time of the original release. So it could be that, hey, this is what Final Fantasy VII would have been if it had released like now, basically. Obviously, I'm still going to remain skeptical because, well, it's a strange release structure for Final Fantasy, well, ever, really. But if it's in the style of Final Fantasy XIII in terms of how it was released, then I'm a little less worried than I was, but I still am going to keep that little bit of skepticism just because a dose of skepticism is always healthy in the gaming industry these days. I'd love to hear some thoughts from you guys. What do you think of his comments, and does this assuage your concerns somewhat, or did this only fan the flames? Do let me know your thoughts. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.